Hey guys, FilmCrazyAdam here to give you my brief thoughts on Battleship. And I'll be calling these things briefs for my top 11 list. If you haven't seen my top 11 list, check it out. Battleship is number 8 on my top 11 list, and I figure it's a good idea to just actually, since I gave a top 11 list, it would probably be a good idea just to follow up on my top 11 list. I tried to make that clear in the Avengers brief. Not a lot of people got it, but anyway, Battleship. Where do I begin with Battleship? Since this is just going to be like a brief review and give you my thoughts on it, I'm not really going to get into the story and or spoilers or anything. I mean, like, I actually took notes to on this movie while I was in there. That was a pain in the butt in the dark to read notes, but I'm not actually going to use those because you're just watching this just to kind of get an idea for the movie. You're watching this because you're not quite sure if it's worth going to see. You're actually kind of, you want to hear what I think about it. So I think it's a good idea to actually talk about what my mindset was going into this, because I think that's important. And here's why. Because I don't know where most people's mindset were going into it. I know where mine was, and I'll explain that, but here's the thing. Last year when Hasbro announced, or whoever announced, that they were making a movie based off of a board game, it was met with so much negative force. I mean, so many people were like just outraged about this movie being made. Almost like they were offended by it. Almost like it was something racist or something. I don't get it. I didn't understand then, and I still don't understand now. Because if you look at the trailer, if you just go online, go to YouTube, go to IMDb, wherever, and just look at the trailer, you know what it is? Here, I'll show you right now. This is a trailer about aliens invading Earth. That's all this is. This isn't a summer alien invasion movie, and we fight back. It's no different than Independence Day, or Skyline, or Battlefield LA. So, why are people so angry about it? Is it because it's based off of a board game? Because it's based off of this? First of all, this is a good board game. If you don't know about this board game, shame on you. But is that why people are angry? Because it's based off of a board game? Because I'll tell you right now, that's not the worst thing that a movie's been based off of. Oh no. Because Hollywood based their movies off of anything right now. They base it off of books, off of comic books, manga, anime, video games. They base movies off of theme park rides, for crying out loud. You don't know what I'm talking about? Well, you should, because this movie is based off a theme park ride. This movie is also one of the best movies ever to come out of Disney or Hollywood. I dare any of you to disagree with me. Pirates of the Caribbean is a great movie. At least the first one is. This movie, which is based off of a park ride again, did so well that it had 3 sequels. The 4th one sucked, though. If you want me to review it, I will. That one sucked. And it's not just I heard that. I saw it. But, so you can't tell me that basing it off a board game is a dumb idea. Sorry about that. The camera I got does this thing where it shuts off after a little while, but don't worry, I'm getting a new camera. In fact, this will be the last time you see me on this camera. I'll have a really good one after this. Anyway, so I haven't talked about the movie Battleship at all yet. I'm going to talk about it right now. I went into this movie expecting an alien invasion summer blockbuster movie where aliens invade and we fight back. And you know, I've seen movies where we fought aliens in space. I've seen movies where the Air Force fought them. I've seen it where the Army and the Marines fought them. So I've seen space, I've seen air, I've seen land. Now I've seen on the ocean. And you know what? It was everything I expected it to be. It was, I keep saying it over and over again, but that's what this movie was. This movie was a summer blockbuster movie about aliens invading Earth. That's all it was. And it was good for what it was. I saw aliens invade, I saw humans fight back with battleships, and actually I'll get to that in a second. I was actually, no, you know what, I'll get to it now. I was actually kind of curious how they were going to make a movie called Battleship when we don't have any battleships, because battleships were those were the powerhouses of World War II. That's what we used to whoop ass in World War II. And we don't have battleships anymore today. Well, we do, but they're museum ships. They are not in service and haven't been for well over a decade. And I had no idea how you were going to get a movie called Battleship and have battleships in it unless you place it in World War II. But they did. They did it. It was 2012, and they placed this movie in Hawaii, where anyone familiar with Hawaii should know that about Pearl Harbor, and that's where the Battleship Missouri is permanently docked as a museum piece. The Battleship Missouri was the ship that the Japanese signed the surrender, their official unconditional surrender at the end of World War II. So that ship's in Pearl Harbor. There are other battleships. The one that I like the most actually is the Battleship New Jersey. Go New Jersey. And I've been to it quite often. And they're really cool ships. They're really fun ships, especially they're really awesome. You know, there's a reason why we won the war with them. And so I'm kind of jumping towards the end at this point, where we've been fighting back and we've been losing ships, and we're kind of down to, the humans are down to their last hurrah. Like, we've got one chance left, and the chance that they have is to use the actual Battleship Missouri to fight the aliens. And I know I picked the Thing apart to hell and back. I know I did. And this movie I could pick apart just about as much, because this movie is really silly and kind of stupid at points. And I'll get back to that in a second, but I think the thing that did it for me most was there's this montage where they get the Battleship Missouri back in action, where it's this montage done to AC/DC's Thunderstruck, awesome song, where they get like these old geezers they're former crew members from like World War II and Korea and Vietnam and everything, that if you've been to the Battleship Missouri, you know that these veterans just hang out there. They really do. They hang out and they tell all the tourists about the ship and everything, and it's cool. But they come up to this ship, and the guy's like, "What can we do for you, son?" He's like, "We need to borrow your ship." And they do this montage where these geezers and like half a dozen to a dozen other guys are helping them put this ship back together. You have like maybe 20 people working on this ship. Now, for the record, when a friend of mine went to the Battleship New Jersey, we even asked them, we were just curious. We're like, how much would it cost in time and money to get this ship back in action? And they're like, and the guy said it would take $5 million or more, and 100 men working full time for 6 months straight to get this thing working. These 20 people, half of them are old geezers, by the way, and probably have artificial hips and, you know, fake heart, pacemakers and fake lungs because they've been smoking all their life. It takes them the length of an AC/DC song to get this ship back up and running. Whew! That actually kind of did it for me. I laughed out loud. I'm like, this is a comedy. This movie is a comedy. Because, and getting back to why I thought the movie was so, I thought it was stupid because it was great, and I understand that they had to do it because you needed Battleship in the movie Battleship. But this movie was kind of stupid. It really was. Because I think what it comes down to is the whole way that they portray the military. They portray the military as high school students. You have the main character, played by John Carter of Mars, is just this angry idiot. I mean, he's just angry all the time, just angry and yelling, and he does the dumbest thing without thinking. Yeah, sorry about that again. Alright, so I got a movie about high schoolers on a destroyer fighting aliens, which is not what I wanted. And going back to John, the main character played by John Carter, every single line that he had was a one-liner, or at least after the 1/3 point, like when the aliens arrived and delivered their first ass whooping and put up the shield. Every line from then on was, number one, it was yelling. Number two, it was a one-liner. So there was no dialogue, just one-liners. And yeah, they actually did kind of shoehorn some parts of Battleship into it. Like, there's this one point where there's like these buoys in the water off the coast of Hawaii that detect tsunamis, according to this movie, which I've been to Hawaii. I did not see a few thousand buoys like this movie kind of implies there are. And they're like, we can detect where it's at night, they don't have their radar, so they're like, we can detect where aliens are, because even though we don't have a radar, we can tap into these buoys, and we can, like, triangulate and coordinate, and we can see if aliens are in the water, because the water level rises, and the buoys detect this. And so, there's this scene where they have a grid, and they're detecting the aliens as the aliens land on these. By the way, these buoys must be made of adamite, must be made of vibranium or adamantium, because alien ships freaking land on these things, and they still work fine. I mean, these buoys are indestructible. Alien freaking lands on them, nothing. It still transmits. It still works fine. But there's a scene where there's a grid, and they just start they literally Alpha 2. And they fire, fire, and then they're like, well, it's a miss, sir. Okay, go for Foxtrot 7. A2, F2, or F7, and it's a miss, sir. And they do finally make a hit, but I think I've rambled on enough about this movie without actually dragging it out. If you guys are interested, when the movie comes out on DVD, I will be happy to review it. Because it would actually be fun to watch this movie again. I would say go see the movie. It's definitely worth a watch. I said it a million times, I'll say it again. It's a alien summer blockbuster movie. It's worth a watch. It was fun. I had a great time watching it. Like I said, it was stupid. I thought it was. Not for any of the reasons that most people think. Not because of source material, not because of anything other than my expectations weren't met. Bottom line, I went in, and which is sad really, because I had no expectations. When I saw the trailer for this, it was like I said, summer alien invasion movie. I wanted the U.S. military to fight aliens. I didn't get that. Like I said, I got instead of the Navy, I got high school students fighting aliens, because like I said, I could stereotype every single one of these as some character from a John Hughes movie. So I was disappointed in that, and I thought it was stupid, but I think it's worth a watch. It really is. And on that note, if you're, just for the record, this movie, other than the aliens, this is like any other World War II movie that takes place in the Pacific Theater. What do I mean by that? Every single World War II movie ever that takes place in the Pacific is about battleships. Is about this ship here trying to blow up that fleet over there. That's every single World War II movie. So even if you didn't know anything going into this movie, if it was just called Battleship, and you like World War II movies about the Americans versus the Japanese, you have no reason not to like this movie, because that's what just so stupid. I don't understand people's reasoning here. Anyway, I rambled on enough. Like I said, my opinion is I thought the movie was kind of silly, but definitely worth a watch. I'll be back soon with I'm almost done with my next review. It's actually up on my computer right now. It should be up within the week, so take a look at it and check out my other videos, and please subscribe to my channel.